Nikhil sir, we are live now.
Okay, ma'am. So shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning to one and all present here. Today's resource person, Mr. Andrew S. Azava, our principal, Dr. Sanjeev Okade, Vice Principal, Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh, Head of Department of Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Rajesh Kale, teaching, non-teaching staff and all participants. I, Professor Nigel VS, on behalf of MCT's Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology and Department of Mechanical Engineering, welcomes you all for the 5th day, first section of AICT EQI sponsored online one-week short-term training program on recent trends in energy management audit. Topic for morning section is energy audit methodology for industries and organizations. It's my privilege to introduce our resource person, Mr. Andrew Azava. Andrew Azava is Assistant Vice President Operations at Adani Electricity Mumbai Limited. He is working with Adani Electricity since 1999. Andrew Azava has 21 years of work experience in power plant operations, commissioning, energy management, ISO audits, and implementation. He has completed BE in Mechanical Engineering from College of Engineering, Pune in the year 1999. He has also taken MBA in Power Management from United Business Institute in the year 2014. Started his career in management training as BScs in 1999. Thereafter, instrumental in commissioning of 300 megawatt to 600 megawatt thermal power plant as a part of EPC division of Reliance Infrastructures Limited. He is also a team member of strategic planning and implementation of flexible operations at AEML. I welcome you, sir, and thank you so much for joining with us today. I request you to enlighten us with your words of wisdom. Over to you, sir. Please proceed. And sir, over to you. हेलो अंकित सर मेरे आवाज आ रहे हैं
Aniruddha sir?
Andit sir, over to you, sir.
Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir. You can start your presentation now, sir.
Thank you very much, Nikhil, for your kind words and introduction.
Okay, sir.
So today's topic for our knowledge sharing is the energy audit. So we have very good association with the colleges and the industries. We actually feel that there should be a better collaboration between the new technologies, the practical experience of the industries, and what we actually teach in our colleges. So this is a very long association with you, sir. So before starting energy audit, may I know how many participants are there?
We have almost 21 joined in Zoom, and there are some participants as well in YouTube also, sir.
Okay, no problem, sir. So this is anyway a new normal for all of us for conducting a session on e-session rather than the physical contact. So before starting our session, I just want to know what is there in the slides and what is the significance of this session with this slide. So if anyone can unmute or the organizers can have also a say. What exactly this is?
Hello.
Huh?
Yeah, what did you say? I could not hear actually.
So I just want to know what exactly this slide related to the energy audit. If any can have a
yes, actually your PPT is not visible now, I think, sir.
It is not visible.
No.
So you have not shared your PPT yet.
Okay, just wait.
It was visible, but not right now.
Okay, just wait.
Yeah. Right.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So before starting the session, I just want to know from all of you that what exactly this slide is all about. So what this resemble with our knowledge sharing sessions? If anyone can help me.
Open mind always works.
Yeah. So when we talk about the parachutes or the umbrella or the mind, it works only when we open.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If we have in our kitty, it doesn't. We don't actually require them in our kitty. So the more it opens, the more we can imbibe from this session. This is what I want to convey from this slide. And the second slide, what I want to convey is always empty your cup of tea so that it can be filled again. So when we start the session, let us start with a fresh mind, so that whatever we can share with each other, so that it can be transferred. Because when we have a physical sessions now, also have the eye contact with each other. So it is very easily understood for me also whether all the participants are engaged or not. But anyway, now this is a new normal, and we have to be in the COVID sessions. We have to conduct the sessions like this. So these two things just I want to convey before starting the actual session. You just open your mind and keep your cup empty so that it can be filled easily. Okay, sir? So what are the learning objectives of this presentation? So as the topic is all about energy audit, we will break up this energy audit session in the four objectives. How to conduct a preliminary energy audit, how to conduct a detailed energy audit, then energy audit instruments required for actually conducting the energy audits, and how to write an energy audit report. So unless and until there is a closed loop right from the start to the end, the energy audit procedure doesn't complete. So what are the content for all of us in this presentation? The content is introduction, energy management, energy audit types and approach, energy audit report, benchmarking, instruments for energy audit, and Bureau of Energy Efficiency Audit Regulations 2008. So these are the contents on which we will brush on. So what exactly energy audit is all about? So when we go by the definition of an energy audit is an inspection survey and an analysis of energy flows from energy conservation in a building, processes, appliances. It may include a process or system to reduce the amount of energy input into the system without negatively affecting the output. So when we talk about the energy audit, two things we should consider when we actually perform the energy audit. One, we should look for the energy conservation, and second, we should look for the energy efficiency. So energy conservation and energy efficiency always run hands in hands. So we know that the energy conservation is what and energy efficiency is what. So when we talk about the efficiency, it is simply that we should reduce our input for the same output, or we can improve our output with the same input. So that is energy efficiency. It is very clear. So when we talk about the energy conservation, we have to eliminate the non-value added processes in our system which consume the energy. In that sense, we can have the energy conservation. So one of the example, if I want to give about energy conservation, is that so we can illuminate our room. So if we use the lux meter, so what exactly the intensity we required for the illumination in a closed room as per the standards, then we can conserve the energy. So energy conservation is basically to eliminate the non-value added processes or the wastage of energy in the process. And energy efficiency is increasing the output with the same input, or we can reduce the input for the same output. So I think I am clear with these two concepts.
Yes, sir. Sorry to interrupt you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Please switch over your presentation in presentation mode, sir.
Okay, this is not in presentation mode.
No, I think it is not there.
No, sir, it is not in presentation mode.
Okay. Just a minute. So now,
Not yet.
Not
is it,
yet,
sir?
sir. Not yet.
Not yet.
sir.
Is it now?
No, sir. We can see the complete screen still.
Okay, just wait.
Hello, sir. Make it slideshow. Slideshow, sir.
Okay, so I have already made it a slideshow only. I don't know why it is not updating. So still not updating, sir?
No, sir, it's still in the same. We are not able to see the slideshow. Sir, maybe if you could just close and open, maybe that will work.
Okay, I will just stop sharing and again share the screen.
Yes.
So now, can you
Yes, sir, now it's
see?
perfect.
Yes, sir.
Perfect,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
perfect.
Perfect.
Sorry for the interruption. And actually, you are using the Zoom, and as per the procedure, Zoom is not allowed in our IT system.
Yeah,
We prefer the Microsoft team.
yeah.
So anyway, I regret for the same. So I think I am very clear about the energy conservation and the energy efficiency.
Yes.
Is it fine to
Yes, sir.
all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when we talk about energy management, I think you had the session on energy management system ISO yesterday.
Yes, sir.
So when we talk about the energy management, it is the judicious and effective use of energy to maximize profit at minimum cost and enhance competitive positions. Or you can say the strategy of adjusting and optimizing energy using system and procedures so as to reduce energy requirement per unit of output while holding constant or reducing total cost of producing the output from this system. If you can see the right bottom corner of my screen, you can see the rupee symbol in the energy. So whatever
sir.
we do, whatever we do in the energy conservation or the energy efficiency process, we always reduce the cost, we always reduce the wastage, we always eliminate the non-value added process, and we always improve our efficiency of the system so that cost benefits will always there. So one thing here I want to make you to look on when we talk about the energy management or the power generations capacity of this country. So when we join these organizations, if you can see the power capacity was near about in 2000 it was 1 lakh megawatt, and now it is 3.5 lakh megawatt, and much more projects are in the offering, and within a year I think we will reach up to 5 lakh megawatt. So when we talk about the capacity of the power generation of this country and the amount of work to increase the per capita energy consumption of this country, there is a very mismatch between the two. So if you want to continue your business, so one thing is sure, you have to increase your energy efficiency, and second, you have to reduce the cost of the product generation of the electricity. So the most competitive price generation will only be allowed to post in the grid. So you can see how the importance of energy management is there nowadays in the industries. And one more beauty about the energy management is that when we call that we have saved a unit of electricity, actually we save the 3 units of the thermal energy, because most of the power plants, if I talk about the coal-based power plant, they are running at 33 to 36, 38% of the efficiency. So you can imagine that if you can save a single unit of electricity, you actually save the 3 unit of the energy. So that's why these projects are more economical viable if we purely talk about the energy management system. So what should be goal of energy management? It is very clear. The fundamental goal of energy management is to produce goods, provide services with the least cost and least environmental effect. We all know that in the process of generation of electricity, somewhere or the other we are disturbing the ecosystem, except the solar. So all other electricity, some effect on the ecosystem, whether it is minor or the major. So when we reduce the electricity consumption, then you can see that we also reduce the detrimental effect on the environment due to the generation of electricity. So our ultimate goal of the energy management, energy audit, energy efficiency, energy conservation is to reduce the energy consumption and to produce the goods and services with least cost and least environment effect. So what are the three major objectives when we talk about the energy management? To achieve and maintain optimum energy procurement and utilization throughout the organization. So when we talk about the energy management, ना, it should start with home only. अपने घर से ही चालू कीजिए to reduce the energy, to conserve the energy, and to increase the efficiency. Now you already know that lot of CFL, then LED we are using nowadays, which has reduced the energy consumption by millions of units. Then to minimize energy cost waste without affecting production and quality. So when we talk about the quality of the electricity or the energy management, they have some set of parameters which we will see in the subsequent slides. So which are the set of parameters through which we can define the quality of electricity and through which we can define the quality of the production in context of energy management and to minimize environment effect. So ultimately, these three are the objective of the energy management, energy audit systems. So what should we approach? The foremost, we should have some strategy. See, energy audit cannot be a very abrupt activity. It has to be very judiciously planned. We should have some schedule. We should have some periodic check. We should have the data collection system. We should have some dedicated time for the energy audit. And the most important thing is we should have the commitment from the Apex Council, top management, or whoever is driving your organization. So unless and until these three things synergy with each other, the energy management or energy audit system, it terribly fails. So when we talk about the energy audit, it has to be very strategic, very planned function. You cannot have abrupt कि आज मैं उठ गया सर और चलो आज energy audit कर दे. So this kind of system doesn't work with energy audit. See, one thing is conducting the energy audit, and the other thing is to have the effectiveness of the energy audit. So unless and until the system is effective enough, so the whole system will collapse, and the lot of energy and the time which we spend in the energy audit, it actually fails terribly. So got it? So when we talk about the energy audit, it has to be very strategic, it has to be very planned. You have to dedicate some time slot for it, and it has to be a very committed thing to done. Otherwise, the whole system will fail. So when we talk about the energy audit, what are the things which we should look for? So energy audit means the verification. So verification of the process, the energy used in our system. So with what verification? With detailed monitoring. So what we required for the monitoring? We required some analysis tool. So these three are the very basic requirement of the energy audit. See, unless and until you measure, you cannot analyze. And the things which you cannot analyze, you cannot control. These are the very basic things of energy audit. So it starts with measurement, monitoring, analysis, and then control. So these are the four most pillar of the energy audit system. So when we have to do energy audit, you always start with the measurement system. And most accurate measurement system will give you the most accurate results and most accurate controls, so that the continual improvement process in your energy can be achieved. So use of energy, see, that is very beautiful saying about the data. So in my experience of working in energy management field or power generation units is very simple. That when we talk about anything, we always look for the data. And I always believe that either you show me a data or bring God with you so that I can believe. So these are the only two things which I actually wholeheartedly throughout my career involved in the energy system. So either you show me a data or you bring God with you so that I can believe you. Because in the energy, particularly conservation measures, so people are so used to it now, so they don't actually realize how much waste they do in the system. So all the non-value added activities in the system, not just ignore. The most cliche, what I say, I usually hear from the people is, साहब ये तो ऐसे ही चलता है. So this is what very dangerous cliche when we talk about the energy audit. So when we talk about the energy audit, you always look for the data of the energy use, the measurement system, the monitoring, the analysis, and then only you can have some control system, you can generate some reports, and you can have the action plans. So the energy audit process always starts with the data. So you should have some measurement system with you. That data has to be converted into information in the monitoring system, then analysis, then reports, and then the action plan. So this is how the whole energy audit system revolves around. So am I clear up till now?
Yes,
I
sir.
hope.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
We will start with the data. So either you believe in the data or you believe in the God. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
What is the need of energy audit? So when we talk about the energy audit, we always look for the operating cost, because energy is a source as an input in any process, either in the form of electrical energy, either in a form of chemical energy, either in a form of thermal energy. So why there is a need of energy audit? So when we talk about the relation between the man, material, and the energy, you can see all three are interlinked with each other. So when we talk about the three things now, the best and the easiest thing to control is the energy. So we all know that how difficult it is to manage the man versus the machines, how difficult it is to get the optimum material, the inventory controls, though there are many smart ERP tools are available. But when we talk about the energy now, it is the best and the easiest and the highest potential cost reduction measures, believe me. So when we have the synergy of these three systems, and if we want to reduce our operating cost, the reduction of energy use is the most easiest thing to do. So because what happens when we talk about the energy, and if you have the subsequent and substantial data to produce on the table, that it is very easy to analyze and very easy to control. There are n numbers of tools nowadays available in the market, and there are many service providers who provide you a services, special services to reduce your energy. There are many utilities which actually finance you and take all the risk of the process with them. So those are the ENCON systems, energy conservation utilities, to provide you the services. So we actually take the services of CPRA and PCRA for our external energy audits. So even CII and BE also help us. So when we talk about the electrical energy or the thermal energy or the energy management system, it has the highest potential, believe me, and the easiest way to control if you have the subsequent data. So which type of data, what to do, we will see in the next slides. So when we talk about the energy audit, I already explained you, it has to be a very strategic function. It has to be judiciously planned, because lot of energy is required, lot of time is required, lot of commitment is required to find out the non-value added process or the excessive energy use in your system. When we talk about the energy conservation, and energy efficiency is always a part of the machine, always a part of the process, which can be altered with the cost benefit analysis and the commitment towards the energy sufficiency. So when we talk about the energy audit and its approach, there are 3 steps predominantly. First step is preliminary audit. The second, these are basically types. First is preliminary audit is required in all type of audits. Then we have the targeted energy audits. Then we have detail audit. So when I talk about the preliminary audit, it again can be categorized as the walkthrough audits. Once एक चलो we have some schedule, we have some strategy, we have some plan, we have dedicated a slot. In that slots, the auditors will come, just go through the processes, and the low hanging fruits which they can have in their observations can be rectified very easily. So preliminary audit is basically to catch the low hanging fruits. Second, to build a rapport between the auditor and the auditee. See, auditors are those who conduct the audit and auditees are those who face the audit. So a healthy relation has to be established between the auditee and the auditor. It is like a relation between the professors and the students. So more healthier relation is there, more knowledge can be exchanged very easily. So at that time of rapport has to be established between the auditor and the auditee. So many times some auditees are very reluctant. So there are special training for the auditors and for auditees also, how to face an audit, how to accept all the suggestions and how to give the suggestions. It should not be very rude suggestion or some blame game should be there in the system. Otherwise, this whole system will fail. The moment you start blaming others, the audit system actually fails. So when we talk about the audit system now, audit system is more about the management system. So that's why we called it as a energy management. It is not a very technical thing to do. It has many perspectives. So when we talk about the preliminary audit, which is also known as walkthrough audit and diagnostic audit, it establishes energy consumption in the organization. So हम लोग use करते हैं usually in the industry like मोटामाटी. So मोटामाटी, it gives an overview of your energy consumption in the organizations. So obtain related data such as production from relating with energy consumption. So in preliminary audit itself, it is made very clear, see how much database you have to establish in your organization to have the detailed energy audit. Because unless and until there is a data management system, there is a monitoring system, it is very difficult to have the analysis or the improvement projects. Then estimate the scope of energy saving. So usually in walkthrough audits, we come to know how much potential is there in your system for the energy conservations or the energy efficiency. Identify the most likely and the easiest areas for attention. That's why I talk about the low hanging fruits. So preliminary energy audit always give you a insight of what are the wastes in your organization, and those are very obvious. It can be seen with the naked eye only that there are unnecessary lightings are there, high temperature settings are there, leakages in your system are there. So any drop of leakage, whether it is of steam or water or oil, it takes the toll of energy from the organization to the environment, which is actually not required, and which gives a lot of inefficiency, leads a lot of inefficiency and hole in the pocket of the organization, believe me. So preliminary audit, the audit which are the organization which are very new, they get lot of benefit in the preliminary audit itself. At least the culture and the rapport is developed during the preliminary audit. So that's why this audit phase, though do not require much technical approach, but it has to be very, it has to be very clinically performed by the auditors. So identify immediate, especially no flow cost or improvement saving, which doesn't require any. See, the attending leakages are very obvious thing which doesn't require much cost. Or if we can reduce the temperature setting of some processes, or if we eliminate the lighting or reduce the use of lighting, reduce the use of compressed air. So all these things they doesn't require any investment. So when we start any audit without investment, if the auditees and the organization gets profit, and believe me that when we talk about the processes, if there is an inefficiency of 5%, the 20% of the inefficiency is due to these leakages only. So in that sense, we can improve the overall 1% efficiency of your system. So this is what the preliminary audit is all about. We do not require any special tools for this. This is only a management, this is only a walkthrough audit, this is only a diagnostic audit, just to establish what are the system in your organization about the energy consumption, and they give the suggestions so that there should not be any cost involved in your system, and low hanging fruits benefits can be taken. So in this way, in these type of steps, we can build a step for the detailed energy audit so that the people get confidence in the audit process. So one more thing here in the preliminary energy audit is to set up a baseline of the reference point for the energy consumption. At least to start with, we should know what exactly our energy consumption is all about. So if I think about your college, then your college should have that data of the electricity bill, the season wise. See how we should approach. If you consider your electricity bill of suppose January or December, the electricity bill of April or March, and then you try to benchmark your electricity consumption or the baseline or the reference point, then your whole system will fail. So when we have the cyclic observation in your process, then at least 12 months data has to be considered to set up a baseline. This is a golden reference point for the organizations. So wrongly laid baseline or the reference point can have very hazardous, or I say detrimental effect on your process of the audit. So set up a baseline itself required a particular experience for the auditors. Usually auditors are 10 to 15 years experience of that process when we invite for the audit, and the auditee should have 5 to 10 years of experience of that process on which he is working, so that the exchange of the things can be done easily. So if an auditor doesn't know any cyclic variation of the process, then the auditee should explain the auditors that these are the system, these are the cyclic variation in our process, and that we have to consider when we form a baseline. So unless and until all those variations are considered to form a baseline, it is very difficult to have the improvement, or it is very difficult to set a reference point. So you can have that cyclic variation, or you can compare the April data of the last 3 years. Let us have a benchmark. Let us have a baseline month to month, or quarter to quarter, or year to year. Depending on your process, there are n number of methods to set up a baseline. Identify areas for more detailed study and measurement. So what are the targeted energy audit? So targeted energy audit usually consider for a specific process. We invite the auditors to improve a specific process. So that auditor will come, study that particular process, give the suggestions, and the improvements are done. So when we talk about the targeted energy audit, these are very process-centric audit, and these are very short audits without much data base of the whole company or the whole system is required. So targeted energy audit often results from the preliminary audit. They provide data and detailed analysis on specific target projects. You can have the example like lighting system, or the boiler efficiency improvement system, or to identify the steam leakages of the system, or to improve the compressor air system. So these are very short process based energy audits. So when we have the preliminary audit, then we have the option whether we have to go for the targeted energy audits or we have to go for the detailed energy audit. Because when we do the preliminary audit, at that moment only the auditors, the auditee, and the whole organization should come to know what is the potential in your system for the improvement, that we call as the scope of improvement. So what is the scope of improvement in your system? If target energy audits are required, suppose there is a huge potential in a particular system, then target energy audits can have all your requirements fulfilled. So targeted audit therefore involve detailed survey of the target subject and the analysis of energy flow and cost associated with the targets. So this is how the targeted energy audit or the detailed energy audit we can choose from. So final outcome is the recommendation regarding actions to be taken. This is the final actually closure of the audit system. It starts with the data management, the data analysis, and it should end with some action plan and the recommendations from your audit. So then what is detailed energy audit? So detailed energy audit is a comprehensive audit. It results in a detailed energy project implementation plan for a facility. It accounts for the energy use of all major equipments, the most accurate estimate of the energy saving and cost. So when there is a lot of cost is involved in your system, now your data measurement has to be very accurate. Otherwise, the what you say payback period it varies a lot, and then you will lose the confidence in your whole system. It includes detailed energy cost saving calculations and project implement costs. So what are the steps of the detailed energy audit? So detailed energy audit is a comprehensive audit, results in a detailed energy project implementation plan for the facility. So this is how the step by step, it starts with the energy data and it ends with the project implement cost. So this is how the detailed energy audit should go on. So any detailed energy audit, there are three phases. There is pre-audit phase, the audit phase, and the post-audit phase. And whole this detailed energy audit process is a 10-step process. So we start with the preliminary audit. Then we decide whether we have to go for the target energy audit or the detailed energy audit. So if we have a process improvement potential more in a particular process, then we go for a target energy audit. And if you want to improve whole system of your organization or many complex processes are involved, then we go for the detailed energy audit. Because energy audit process also involves some cost. So you require special equipments for doing the energy audits. Either you install by yourself. If you install by yourself, then you have to keep on maintaining those equipments, or you can have an option of the third party audit. So you can hire a party for a particular 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, or a week, so that the party will come with all the equipments required. The specification you can freeze with the help of the auditor or as per your experience. As per the specification and the accuracy, you will get a detailed budget for that. So when we talk about the detailed energy audit, it requires a lot of time, lot of efforts, lot of commitment, and a cost. So that decision organization take depending on the commitment towards the energy audit. So when we talk about the detailed energy audit, it has to be in three phases: pre-audit phase, audit phase, and post-audit phase. So what are the 10 steps of the detailed energy audit? So first step is the plan. Second stage is introductory meeting with all the stakeholders. Third is the primary data collection. The fourth step is survey and monitoring. The fifth is detailed trial and test of the equipments or the process involved. Analysis of energy use. So the seventh is identification of the ENCON, that energy conservation opportunities. Estimated cost and benefit analysis. Reporting to top management. Implementation and follow. See, unless and until you implement your all suggestions, or you should have some concrete plan for that, the audit process doesn't consider to be complete. So I am again mentioning here, because energy audit cannot be a very arbitrarily process. It has to be very strategic and very planned. You should have that intent to take all the suggestions and to improve your system. So ultimate our goal is to reduce the cost, reduce the energy use in your process. So what are the 10 steps? So when we talk about the step 1, it is a pre-audit phase. So what is the plan of action for the pre-audit phase? The plan and organize, walkthrough audit, informal discussion with energy management, production, line managers, plant managers. So the more you interact with your actual process people, line manager or the workers or the technician, the more ideas you get about your organization, about the organization you are auditing. So auditor can be external, can be internal. It depends on the competency level what you have in your organization. So we usually have near about 40 energy managers and auditors in our plant. So they take care of all the internal audits which we have scheduled and periodically we have. Then we have some mandatory external audits, and then we call the external audit agency as per the uh, results of the internal audits. So where we require some specialized comments or the industry experts. So what is the purpose of this pre-audit phase? Step 1, to establish, organize an energy audit team. So audit team has to be there. So who are the persons, who are the responsible, who are the accountable? And when we form a energy team, so two things we should consider here. One is the competency of that team. As I already mentioned you, it has to be a 5 to 10 years experience of that particular process. Then it has to be very positive and affirmative team, so that it take all the suggestions and can work on with the auditors. Then organize instrument and the time frame. So what are the instruments required for the energy audit? Then we have the macro data collection suitable for type of industry, familiarization with the process plant activities, first hand observation and assessment of the current level of operation and practices. So this is the step 1, and it is a step of the pre-audit phase. The another step of the pre-audit phase is introductory meeting with all divisional heads. So in the step 1, we usually the auditor interact with all the line workers, and then in second phase, when he come to know what exactly the process is all about and what is the potential of improvement in the process, then they have a formal meeting, what we call as opening meeting, with all the divisional heads, the concerned person of the management. Usually this meeting carry out for 1 to 2 hours. So any meeting more than 50 minutes now, it doesn't pay you much. And this is what we have experienced over the years. So meeting should be of minimum 30 minutes and maximum of 50 minutes. And if you have a healthy discussion, the meeting participants should not be more than 12. There should always be one minute taker in the meeting, and there should always be one observer in the meeting who can observe your meeting proceedings, so that the agenda of the meeting do not deviate. So many times what happens, the agenda of the meetings get deviates when we talk about, because this is very important step of the energy audit procedure. So if your introductory meeting goes well, then it set the tone of whole the audit process. So the purpose is to build a cooperation and rapport orientation, awareness creation, issue questionnaire tailored for each department. What exactly is department role in this energy audit process has to be defined in this meeting itself. So up till now, I think I am clear.
Yes, sir, you are very clear, sir.
Just I am just checking that whether the other side someone persons are there or not.
Yes, sir, everyone is listening, sir.
Okay. So these are the two steps basically of the pre-audit phase, and I have explained you why this pre-audit phase is very important when in the energy audit process. So what are the things to be asked? So what function does system serve? How does this system serve its function? What is the energy consumption of this system? What are the indications that this system is probably working? If this system is not working, how can it restore to good working condition? How can the energy cost of this system be reduced? So these are the questions can be asked during the preliminary audit. If you have some questions regarding during the preliminary audit or the walkthrough audit. So this helps actually again to make the people involved in the process to think on, so that whenever they come during the audit phase or interact during the audit phase, they should be aware that what are the agenda of this audit, why this audit is conducted. So unless and until there is a specific agenda of any meetings or any process, actually it goes haywire. It doesn't solve the purpose. So when we talk about the audit, it has to be strategic, it has to be planned, it has to be very objective oriented, and it has to be very specific essay. So unless and until, see, there is always a difference between the objective and the goal. As the two things are spelled differently or words are different, but many people get confused about the objective and the goal. What exactly goal is and what exactly objective is there. So objective can be a very broad, the goal has to be very short. So when we talk about the goal now, it is literally a goal. It has to be between two goal posts. So narrow drawing of the objectives is nothing but the goal. So objectives can be a broad. So suppose objective is the main objective of energy audit is to reduce the energy consumption, to improve the efficiency, to have the energy conservation, to drive a culture. This can be one objective of the energy audit, to drive a culture so that people will keep on thinking about the energy consumption and energy use. But when we set a goal from this objective, it has to be very specific. Suppose we want to reduce the consumption of a particular pump. So if my pump today is consuming 7 megawatt, let us reduce that 7 megawatt to 6 megawatt. That can be a goal. It cannot be objective. So these two things should be very clear in the mind of all the people who are involved. What is the difference between the objective and what is the difference between the goal? Goal has to be between two posts. It has to be very specific, and objectives can be at a broad level. Am I clear? So from the third step, the audit phase starts. So what is the first step of the audit phase or the third step of the detailed audit process? The primary data gathering, process flow diagram, and energy utility diagram. So these are the very important input on your system. So we usually learn a lot of flow chart in our college. So everyone go through the computer subjects. I think in every branch nowadays there is a computer subject, and we go through the algorithms and how to write a process flow diagram. What are the symbols involved? How we can write the start or how we can write the end? What are the decision? The diamond symbol of the decision. So that process flow diagrams, if every process, if you have a process flow diagram, sorry, of every process, then we come to know what are the loopholes of the process or what are the repetitive activities we do in the process. Suppose we start a process from the transportation or receiving a raw material in our gate. Then from the gate it goes to the stores. From the stores it goes to the shop. From the shop it goes to the actual machine where we process. So in between, if there are 3 buildings, then we require the transportation. Suppose one machine in a particular building and we have to do a 3 transportation in between the 2 or 3 buildings, then we can relocate our buildings. So this is how beautifully the process flow diagrams gives us the indications what are the non-value added process, or what are the process we can optimize, or what are the logistic we can create. So that's why when we talk about the data, one is the data, another is the process flow diagrams, and third is the energy utility diagram. So energy utility diagram is nothing but how much energy is required in each process of your system. Each process of your system, there should be a energy utility diagram, so that in step 1 we required, suppose we required 100 unit of electricity. If we take an example, then we should have a diagram in very handy that in step 1 we required 10 to 20, in step 4 we required 50 to 60. Likewise, you should have all the diagrams of your process and the system ready with you. Or during the detailed energy audit, auditor help the line managers or the auditing team to gather all the information and to have these process flow diagrams. So what is the purpose basically of doing all these things? Is to historical data collection. So for the baseline formation, I already explained you minimum 1 year data is required to take all the seasonal effects. If it is 3-year data, it is very good. There is nothing like it is just icing on cake. If you have a 3-year data for the analysis and for any energy audit, all service utility system diagrams, single line power diagrams, water, use of water. See, water always required some pumping power. Whenever we use water, we use actually electricity. Whenever we use compressor, we actually use electricity. Whenever we use steam, we actually use the thermal energy, either in the form of coal or in a form of chemical energy, in a form of coal or in a form of gas. So when we have this actual quantum of electricity, actual quantum of energy, which we use in each and every step, then and then only this whole audit system is more fruitful. If there are some vague figures, then you will get a vague results. So you have to be very particular when we form a baseline of energy consumption. Then design operating data or schedule of operation. So once we have the data, then what we can do? Either we can compare with the design data, or we can compare with the best operating data which we have available in our plant only. So if you plot a particular graph of the 3 years now, you will get that in some certain period of the time, you got very good results. And in some particular time, you got very bad results. So believe me, even shift to shift duty, if there are shift batch production in 3 shifts, shift to shift also the energy deviations is there. So if we only by seeing a data, if we can adopt the best achieved and best achieved circumstances, then also 20% of our energy bill can be reduced. And this is by the experience I am saying. When we look for our process only, we find some of the time we operated in at best in our organization. So that helps us a lot. So there are 3 steps. One, you can compare with your design. Second, you can compare with your best operating point. Third, you can compare with the best in the industry. Fourth, you can compare with the international best standards. So in this way, so auditor team always help in the process of the benchmarking, the standing of the organization where it is today. And when we, I always insist, when we compare or when we have the benchmarking or when we form the baseline, please compare apple with apple. So it's fine to compare a normal apple with the Kashmiri apple. That will solve purpose. But if you compare the apple with the papaya, then it is very difficult to get the results. And many times people just have errors in forming the baseline and your what you say, the benchmarking process. So that's why this step 3, that is the first step of the energy audit phase. It is very important when you have the data collection, process flow, energy utilization data, the benchmarking, baseline, and these all data has to be validated. So there are many tools available in our system for the data validation, whether this data is authentic or not. So if you have an ISO system, then it's fine because they have many manuals to be referred, or logbooks usually they preserve the design data. If it is a computerized data, then there is no need of much verification because data is stored in a database system and it can be retrieved very accurately. But if anyone is taking the data manually, then it has to be verified. So we have the gauge analysis for that, so that repeatability and replicability can be tested, so that a particular person, if he is going and measuring the temperature, then what is the error in the different time when he takes. whether there is a pattern in this system, or if there is an error, that same instrument is used by different users. So in this way, we have the RNA gauge analysis for that. So those type of data validation has to be done during the data collection before using it for formation of the baseline and the benchmarking. So then the step 4, the conduct survey and monitoring. This is where the measurement actually auditors take for a particular period or a particular day or a particular to check the performance of the process or the equipments. So when we take the measurement now, it has to be very natural, because people, when we start measuring any system, the people tends to be very alert, and they try to operate a machine in a particular way in which usually they do not normally operate. So that again gives a very bad result. It has to be very natural and should not be known too much about whole the system. So it has to be very quiet activity about the measurement, because people do not like when someone monitor them. So this is a normal human tendency. When you start the monitoring or you start the pressurizing the process of the workers, it gives you a very I think it is very erratic results you might get if you pressurize more, or if you make a very concise efforts. So measurement has to be done very naturally once you install your meters and let the automated system work. So the more the automation, the more accurate system you will get. Then this is again the measurement system only trial and test. It can be a 24-hour test. It can be a 1 month test. It can be a week test. It can be a hours test. It depends on your process. So all the guidelines has been given in the energy audit processes. You can have it. Even Bureau of Energy Efficiency on their website, they have formulated different timing and the different parameters which you have to measure during the energy audit phase. These are the set of the parameters which can be utilized for a particular process. These are the benchmarking standard and international available on the sites. So all these things are done by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, which primarily looks after the energy conservation and energy efficiency under the CEA, Central Electricity Authority. Then again, we have the state governing bodies who look after, like MEDA, we have Maharashtra Development Authority, that again Electricity Development Authority, that again look after this energy management process. And they issue some guidelines in which how and when and how much time you should conduct the energy audit on a particular process. So those details are very much available on your system. You can go anytime on the BE website and check for the which type of and how much hours we should conduct a particular test or trial on your equipment, so that we can get a very good results on that. So here comes the intelligent system now, the analysis of the energy use. So we have started with the preliminary audit. Then what we have done, we have the option to go for the target audit or the detail audit. So detail audit primarily start with the local rounds of your process, interaction with the shop floors or the technicians or the first line engineers who actually perform the use of energy. Then you have the opening meeting with your HODs. It usually 1 to 2 hours. That set the tone of your energy audit. Then comes to the measurement and data collection system. Then how accurately you measure the data, what are the data you require to be measured for the particular processes that you take. Then the step comes of the validation, that that data is in the right way or the right frame or the right quantum we require. Usually we collect data for 1 year, or 1 to 3 year is the icing on the cake. And if it is 3 to 5 years, then you get the god. That is what we can say about the energy management system. So then we have around the analysis of this energy use. So we have the accurate data with you, we believe, with us. Then comes part of the analysis of the energy use. So purpose of analysis of energy use to have the energy and material balance. and to find out the energy loss and waste analysis. So if we have the chart of the energy, if you have the quantum of the energy, if you have the process of the energy, where exactly it is used, then we can have all this system of the energy and material balance. So this is the step 6. Then here the step 7. So here the help of the expertise or the experience come. So what are the projects we can take? And what are the to after the gap analysis to what you say to have all the loopholes can be easily stitched so that the energy wastage and the energy conservation can be achieved. So all the opportunities which we get has to be detailedly written in a either process way or equipment way, or you can arrange it as per the day one you have conducted this audit, and these are the. So there are many techniques to have this. So usually auditor and auditee, what they do, they collect the data of a particular process, they close that process, then they go to the another process, or there is again one more methodology where step by step they collect all the data first, then they sit and analyze, and then the opportunities can be gained from those data. So basic purpose of this step is to conceive, develop and refine ideas, review ideas suggested by unit personnel, review ideas suggested in previous energy audit. So whenever we perform an energy audit, we always look for the old energy audits. So that again gives us an idea of your commitment. See, 10 suggestion has been issued in old energy audit, and by the time you go for the next energy audit, the organization has performed some of the suggestions had been utilized and installed, and they are ready for the next level. So unless and until the management shows the commitment or the process people show the commitment towards the energy system, so it is very difficult to achieve. Then you can have your brainstorming sessions, you can have the analysis technique, you can contact with the energy encon expert or the vendors which help you to have the energy efficient motors. So there are many n numbers. So when we talk about the pumping system, we can reduce the diameter, we can install the variable frequency drives, we can install variable speed drives, and then we can have the energy efficient motors. So all these things, it comes one by one when we sit together, when we brainstorm ourselves. So what are and the upgradation of the techniques which we have available. So in old days, if you have a voltage level of 6 kV and above, so in India there was no vendor who was providing the variable frequency drive to such motors, such pumps. So then for the last 10 years, there are many vendors has been developed to provide such drives. Now they go up to 11 kV voltage level also for the provision of the variable frequency drives. So step by step, as the vendors are available in India, as the technology is viable, as the technology depends on your process, how critical your process are. Because when we alter a process, it is very difficult to again go back to the old process. So before altering any process, it is always advisable to have a detailed risk analysis. So when we talk about the risk analysis, when we talk about the risk, so risk itself, we come across this word very frequently. But actually, in true sense, we do not try to understand what exactly risk is. Risk actually is potential of damage. Risk is nothing but the potential of the damage. So anything when we talk about this is risky, then it has the potential of the damage. This we have to understand. Because in a very casual way, people are using the risk word, but actually it doesn't have the potential of damage. So that's why when we talk about the risk analysis, you have to have a detailed outlook on your process. So what are the detailed minute steps which can be go wrong and your whole system can be damaged. So that type of risk analysis it has to be done before altering any process. This is one of the suggestions as per the experience which we have in our system. We even I miserably fail in some of the occasions when we have started our journey in 2002. At that time, that was there was not many risk analysis tools available with us. So at that time we failed in some of our project, and then in the course of action we actually got the expertise in that. So here come the last and the most important part of the energy audit, that is cost benefit analysis. So when we put this whole energy audit, we do lot of efforts. We take lot of suggestions. We usually contact lot of people for this. And the last thing, which is the most important thing, as per the management is concerned, is the cost benefit analysis. So what is the cost involved, and what are the benefits we get from it? So usually, if your cost is recovered within a year, the management are the most happy to do those type of project. So how the cost benefit analysis is done, I will explain you in the subsequent slides. Then reporting and presentation to the top management, documentation, draft report, presentation to the top management, final report preparation, and feedback from the units. Then the energy audit team doesn't complete the audit process till the implementation is follow is there. So when we perform a detailed energy audit, we always have a post-audit requirement for that. So these are the 10 suggestions came out from the audits. These are the 5 suggestions management has approved. And then what about the implementation follow-up and the actual benefit we got from the process? So some of the Incon utilities, they have their own finance structure, and they take the benefits from the conservation or from the efficiency improvement which the organization get, and then they will get their payback and pay for those equipments. So that again can be done with the collaboration of the vendors and the utilities. Then you should have some action plan, again schedule for the post audit phase, monitoring and periodic review. So any project you do, any project, minimum you should have 6-month monitoring plan to certify those projects. If you have the 1 year monitoring plan, it is good. If you have 2 year, depending on your the process and the efforts you required, or if you have the fear that process can be altered anytime, then you can have the 2 years. But minimum 6-month review plan monitoring you should be there to certify actually you got the benefit from your process. So these are the following things we should ensure. The quantity and type of raw material, it should not alter so that your services or the quality of the product reduces. Technology, process use and equipment use, capacity utilization, it should not be altered. Efficiency, yield, it should improve. Percentage reduction should reduce. Quantity and type of waste should be eliminated. And consumption of fuel, water, steam, electricity, compressor, cooling water, chiller water, this has to be reduced. So these are the prerequisite of any audit. These one has to ensure when we perform the audit. So if we have a diagrammatical review, so what are the things we can have in our kitty when we perform audit phase? It preparing a process flow diagram. Fuel substitution we can look for. So energy generation from the waste we can look for. We can have a better energy distribution system. Nowadays, the utilities are charging from the reactive power also what they consume. The energy usage by the process and technical and economic feasibility. So these are basically 6 points on which we can work on when we finalize the solutions. So worksheet we can prepare for each and every suggestion for the economic feasibility of the suggestions we give. It has to be predominantly in 3 columns, that is investment required, what is the annual operating cost again required if you alter the process, and what are the annual savings. So equipments, anyway, if we alter the equipments, we require some civil foundations to be reworked, and that again take a lot of cost. Wherever there is a alteration in the civil foundation of the structure, it requires a lot of cost. Instrumentation, auxiliaries, and small equipment doesn't require much cost, but the civil works require a lot of cost, curing time and the downtime of the equipment. Then the operating cost we should consider in the five things: cost of capital, maintenance, manpower, energy, and depreciation. So some of the utilities can take the advantage of the depreciation. In the power utilities, government usually give the advantage of depreciation. For any capex project they take, some advantages are there from the government, like you can get a very good return on equity, and the percentage of equity again fixed in the capex project, capital intensive projects. Then what are the annual saving in terms of the thermal energy, electrical energy, raw materials, and waste disposal? So one thing here I want to make very clear, that when we talk about the quality, when we talk about the energy, when we talk about the environment, it has to be very precisely quantified. You cannot say that, sir, I have saved the electrical energy. That doesn't solve any purpose of any audit system or any improvement system. So when we talk about the quality, when we talk about the energy, when we talk about the environment, it has to be quantified. Unless and until it is quantified, it is of no use. If there is a safety improvement, then we can, because ऐसा तो नहीं है 10 हम लोग जबरदस्ती एक्सीडेंट करवा देंगे and then we have reduced from 10 to 5. So it cannot be done. So safety, they have given some, all the standard have given some way or the other, some leeway for that. But when it comes to the quality, when it comes to the energy, when it comes to the environment, it has to be very quantifiable. The reduction can be in terms of percentage, it can be in terms of absolute units, it can be in the quantity of the raw material input, it can be in terms of the time saving, it can be in terms of the, so if you can think of any number of things where we can quantify the savings. But the vague things of saving cannot be accepted at all. So even I will suggest you should not write that you have reduced the consumption from 100 to 90%. No, it has to be in a quantifiable unit, because 100 to 90%, suppose in a process you have 1000 million units consumption, that 100 to 90% will give you a huge amount. If you have 100 only million unit consumption, then from 100 to 90 it is a small amount. So try to quantify in the basic units as far as possible when you talk about the economical feasibility or the post audit phase calculations and the monitoring and verifications. So am I clear up till now?
Yes, sir.
If we talk about the economic feasibility, so usually the process people, they do not do much financial calculations. They only look for the simple payback period. That is investment and the net saving you get per year, and how many years you will get the payback. This is the simplest form to do, and the finance people will do all the things which they want as per the top management guidance or the process you have. This is the simple things we can calculate, and anyone can calculate. Any engineer, any artisan, or any technician can calculate a simple payback period. So when we classify the energy conservation measures, it can be broadly classified in three things. One is low cost, high return; medium cost, medium return; high cost, high return. See, depending on the capacity and the budget allocated to you, you can classify these three things. So low cost, suppose you can classify less than 1 crore. Medium cost, you can classify 1 to 3 crore. High cost, you can classify greater than 3 crore if you have the 5 crore budget. So depending on your budget and the intent and the capacity and the things potential of the improvement, these three can be classified very easily. So in our industry, like generation of electricity, where there is a lot of capital is involved, we usually have greater than 100 crore is high cost. Then 70 to 100 crore we have medium cost, and less than 70 crore is low cost. So when we talk about the capex project, then again OPEX project, we have greater than 5 lakhs, it is high cost, 3 to 5 lakhs medium, less than 3 lakhs is low cost. So this is how you can classify, and the most lucrative thing to get approved is low cost and high return. So those projects can be very easily approved from the top management, and depend on your the long run and the effectiveness of your system and how much you can sustain your system at those returns. That will give again a confidence to have the high cost, high return also. So this is how the ENCON measures can be classified. So when we have the priority guidelines of your projects, so a good priority we can have well defined and attractive. Existing technology is adequate. See, the moment you try to alter your process now, so again the risk analysis has to be done. So people are more comfortable with having attractive solutions with existing technology only. And believe me, that can be possible, because our technology in many utilities are way old technologies from the 90s or 95. There are very few utilities which are just installed when we talk about the capex. Now again the capex cycle is rotating, and the next plants will have very good technical upgradations and all. So maybe you can see well defined and only marginally acceptable. Existing technology may be updated, lack of confirmation. A minor operating risk may be feasible. Then usually we held this type of project when we have purely defined. Then existing technology is inadequate and a slight doubt is there in the system. And the last is the clear cut no. It is not attractive, need major breakthrough, not feasible. Electricity Act 2001, it in all its document, in all its document, is clearly defined that you do not have to implement all the recommendation of the energy audit. So depending on your the process, depending on the improvement, depending on your technology upgradation, depending on the time required to adopt a certain technology. See, I have a very beautiful suggestion, but it required a downtime of that equipment for 6 months. So no one will accept those type of suggestions, because capacity utilization is one of the prerequisite of this energy audit. You cannot alter those capacity utilization or the availability of your units. So that's why this audit is a very specialized job. It has to be performed with a very clear-cut objectives. The goals has to be defined very specific, and cost benefit analysis is the most important point. That's why I have too many slides on the cost benefit analysis, because after all it comes to the cost only. So here the three phases, all three phases are completed. Now we come to the last and the foremost business part of the energy audit, that is a detailed energy audit report which has to be submitted. So what are the requirements of the detailed energy audit? It has to be start with acknowledgement. Then energy audit team has to be specified that who have performed this energy audit along with the auditor and the auditee. Then you should have an executive summary in which the top management or the apex council body is interested. The energy audit option at a glance and recommendation. So this has to be very precisely written. You should have a very deliberation on these 2 or 3 pages, because the people should get interested to read the detail about the project from these 3 pages. Any document, any book, though there is a cliche that we should not judge a book by its cover, but the practical is that with these 3 executive summary, 3 or 4 executive summary pages, the whole tone of your energy audit, what you have done, will set, and people should get interested in going further, reading all the detailed work you have done in your system. Then there is a general introduction about the plant and the processes. The production process descriptions are there. A brief description of management process. Then you have the process flow diagrams. And then raw material input. So I always insist to have the get diagram from where the process start and where the process end. And if you have that, if anyone is accustomed with the Six Sigma, that CPOC, high level process diagram should always be there. The supplier, input, process, customer, and output. So these are the five broad category in which you can classify your process, so that you can get a glance of a project in a single diagram. It has not to be more than A4 size paper, so that each and every processes can be set rather than the detailed process. The energy utility system description, brief of each utility: electricity, steam, water, compressor, chilled water, cooling water, what is the consumption, what is the importance of this process in your system. Then we have a detailed process flow diagram, energy and material balance, flow chart showing flow rate, temperature, pressure, input, output points. The water intensive industries can have the water balance of entire industry. Then 5 is the most important point, where the whole your audit system should, it is the core of your audit system. The specific energy consumption, if boilers are there, boiler energy efficiency assessment. If any industry is utilizing thermal fluid, if you have the furnaces, cooling water system, DG set performance, refrigeration system, compressor system. So believe me, one or the other utility performance assessment has to be carried out in any utility. These 10 points will always be there. Some points will hit, some point will not, but some of the points will always be there when you perform an energy audit. So these are the broad 10 points. Then the energy conservation options and the recommendation. I have already explained you how to categorize your 3 things. Quite obvious thing has to be listed first, so that people get interested in reading those project reports, because everyone is not aware of what are the efforts you have put on during this all energy audit. They will only judge you with the reports you submit. That's why this is the most important thing, and these are the minimum requirements of the reports you should have. Then the list of instruments you have used during the, and the source of the instrument. See, traceability of these instruments is very important. Whether this instrument has been calibrated, from where you have calibrated, who is the expert agency you have used, or you have contracted for the instruments and the measurement system. List of the vendors, technical details. So these are the system which people usually recognize you, the efforts you have put on. Then what are the key? I think we are on the time now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So key performance parameter for the energy audit. So when we talk about the basic electrical parameters, these are the parameters which we usually measure: the voltage, current, power factor, active power, maximum demand, reactive power, energy consumption pattern, frequency, and harmonics. So a lot of variable frequency drives are used by the utility nowadays. That's why harmonics again play a very important role. Then other parameters are temperature, heat flow, radiation, air and gas flow, liquid flow, and the speed of the equipment. So we all know the general philosophy of the speed versus the power in the centrifugal systems or the motor system. So as the speed increases, power increases 3 times. As the speed increases, head increases 2 times. And same with the flow, and same with the power. So this is how the relation between the RPM and the power consumption, flow, and the head are defined to get the optimum uses of the centrifugal systems. Then these are some of the parameters which we require depending on the process: that air velocity, noise, and vibrations. So we came across one project where we reduced the speed of the equipment, but it has created a noise and the vibration in the system, and literally our bearing fails. So this type of systems can happen in your utilities also, or when you actually implement the projects. So these are the ancillary measurement what you say is required. The air velocity, noise, dust, the moisture content, relative humidity where it is important, analysis of the environment parameters. Then again the efficiency, if we get online it is good, or it can be a one-time exercise, there is no problem. So if we have the measurement of all the system which can be controlled, the efficiency will always be in a control. So here we should very judiciously form our data measurement system. So which are the key parameters required as an input for the audit as per the process. Suppose I take a centrifugal pump, then what are the system is required? We require the suction head, we require the discharge head, we require the flow from the centrifugal pump, we require the RPM of the motor, we require the electricity measurement of the motor, we require the power factor, we require the reactive power. So these all the system are the requirement of a centrifugal pump. So for each system, what are the equipments are basically required? It is defined by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, which you will get in on the site, how to perform energy audit, and system wise they have defined which equipment you have to use. Some of the glimpse of the equipments I have in my presentation, which I can share with you. These are the electrical measuring, power measuring equipment. You can see the tongue testers are there, which you can have across the cables so that you get the power measurement. So this instrument is used for measuring kVA, kW, power factor, the frequency. So these instrument can apply online on the running motors without any need to stop the motor. So you can see the tongue testers are there. Just across a cable, you can have these tongue testers, and you have the energy measurements in it. So these are the handheld devices. Even you get the printout periodically, you can attach with the computer, you can get the computerized data, the pattern you can have. And best way, if the utility have the energy mapping, all the motor feeders are connected to the LAN system. If you get the reports, that is the best thing to have. Then we have the Faraite. It actually measure the oxygen and the CO2 in the gas. These usually used in the power generation utilities or the utilities which are using the boiler to find out the boiler efficiency. Then we have the fuel efficiency monitor. If you can fade the GCV of the coal, it can give the combustion efficiency of your process with the measurement of the oxygen and the temperature of the flue gas. These are again the handheld devices. Then we have the gas analyzers, which measure the CO2 content, CO content, NOx content, and SOx content in the flue gas. These are again very light instrument, which usually used by the energy auditors. Then we have the manometer. Of course, we are using digital manometer nowadays to find out the flows. It usually find the pressures and it is converted within the flows according to the calculations. Then we have the contact thermometers. Again, we have the infrared thermometer, which usually nowadays very popular in measuring the temperature of the human body in the COVID-19 scenario. So many are using non-contact thermometers also. This is non-contact thermometer, most popular nowadays. So the most unused equipment is using worldwide nowadays. So this is how the cycle repeats. So infrared thermometers are there. They give the temperature, though are not much accurate, but you can get the during the insulation survey you can use this. Even you can have the thermography equipment. You can have the non-contact flow meters. Suppose any flow meter is not installed in your process, which is not required, but for the energy audit purpose you require some flow to be measured. Then this type of instrument can be used. These are very handy instrument. These are least maintenance equipment we have. This is one of the most popular equipment of non-contact flow meter. There are ultrasonic principle basically they are using. So one is receiver, one is emitter, and depending on the only thing is that you should have the laminar flow in the tubes, and at least 1 meter a straight portion you should have in your system to install and to flow the flow measure accurately. Then we have tachometer and stroboscope to measure the RPM of the equipments. Then we have cyclometer to consider the relative humidity in your area. See, some of the equipment, some of the process are driven by the relative humidity where we provide the air for the combustion. So in that sense, it is very important when we find out the boiler efficiency of your process. Then we have lux meter, which is used for the optimization of your lighting system. Then we have smart energy meters, which can be installed one time in the electrical system so that you can get all the system, all the data is stored. You can just have all the data in your computers. You can analyze it. So even some of the meters, we have installed some of the meters which are 2 kilometers away from us, and we get the wireless feedback. So even we get the wireless nowadays feedback through the optical cables only. The distortion in the system can be converted with the sound signal, and it can be processed in a computer, and you can get whether the bearing is working or not. Those type of technologies are available nowadays. So 2-3 kilometer, 4 kilometer away motors can be monitored from here with the internet IoT technology. Then we have thermography, usually used for the insulation survey or to find out the hotspot in your systems. Converts the electromagnetic thermal energy radiated from an object into the electronic video signals. Usually used for the hot cold spot finding out. So this is all from me. The session is open for the questions.
Sir, is it over, sir?
Yes,
Hello.
this is all from me.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, it was a great section filled with knowledge. Now, with your permission, I would like to take up the question and answer section. So I request Professor Ratnam to take the section. Over to Ratnam.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I have few questions. So may I have your permission to start with question answer session, sir?
Yes, you can, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. The first question is how
Just a little bit loud.
Okay.
Ratnam, ma'am, you make it
You're
little bit
not
audible.
Okay. Am I audible, sir, now?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, this is fine. This is fine, ma'am.
Okay, sir. How uncertainty in the measurement can be taken into account while doing audit of working equipment?
No, it's at uncertainty to be avoided. It has to be zero tolerance for the uncertainty, because when I start with uncertainty, then I will get the uncertain results. So it depends on your if you believe that your process is only 20% efficient, then uncertainty will have the 30% or 40% improvement. But nowadays, I don't think in energy use sector, wherever we are using the energy use, so equipments are uncertain. It has to be calibrated. See, when we talk about the instrument, it has to be very accurate, it has to be very precise. So I think most of us are accustomed with the accuracy and the precision. Am I right? So the definitions are very much aligned with what we have been educated throughout our career. So accuracy, precision has to be very good, because see what happened when we measure electrical energy, we actually measure the consumption. So let us take an example. Suppose 100 unit of electricity consumption I am measuring. So if there is an error of 10%, what will happen? How much energy is deviated? 10%, 10 kilowatt hour. Am I right? So when we actually measure the losses, then uncertainty can have, because losses are 10%. Suppose I have a process where I am measuring only losses and my process efficiency is 90%. So how much I am measuring? 10% only. In that measuring of loss system, if you have an error of 10%, then whole system error is only 1%. But when in terms of electricity, if I am measuring the 90% of the electricity, if 10% error is there, you can see 9 kilowatt hour, your error will be there. So I think you are getting my point.
Yes, sir.
So when we actually measure the quantum, the error should be minimum. If we are measuring the losses, then 2-3% error will do. That's why I insist, either you have the highest calibrated equipments which you should able to maintain, or you can hire those parties who can come and measure on behalf of you with the accurate test certificates, so that you get the accurate results. See, energy audit is a short-term activity. Now, it is not long-term activity. Okay. So when you want to compare the results, always compare with apple to apple. It is best way to have a particular party of measurement before audit and after the implementation of the project, so that the deviation or the errors in the system will be constant. One thing is that. But as far as possible, if you ask me the straight question is no. So do not use the uncertain or the known error equipment, because again, if you are measuring it wrong, then you are getting it wrong. So here I want to share experience. The error in only a spring balance of the measurement of the bearings. It has created a lot of problem to the bearing company. So they usually weigh their end product and accordingly they manufacture it. There was a error of only 1% in the spring balance. That has created a loss of near about 100 crores to that company. So when we talk about the measurement system, it has to be very accurate and precise, depending on what you want to get the results from your measurement. If it is only for the indication, then it's okay. But if you are measuring it, then error of 1-2% is okay. But if you are collecting a data, it has to be most accurate. And if you are collecting a data and converting to information and you are using for the analysis, then it has to be passed through the analysis testing phases like R&R, repeatability and retrieve of the data. Those all process has to be performed on that data. But the straight answer is no, sir. Please do not use the uncertain measuring equipments.
Thank you so much, sir. There is another question. What is smart meter, a smart energy meter? What is the role of smart energy meters in advanced smart home energy management system, and how we can install it?
See, for the installation purpose, you require the experts. That is the sure that the vendor agency should come and install. We should not try to install those equipment by ourselves. Second thing, the smart energy meter, what it does, it gives you the load pattern in your laptop or the desktop. So don't have to go and take the readings manually. That's why they are smart meters. They are comes with the IoT. They have RFID with it. They have the optical fiber network arranged with the smart meters, and that meters are connected with your processor, and that processor gives you the product in your system. So when you get any pattern in your system, lot of tools are available. Even a simple Excel can give you results. What is the load pattern is there? How you can control. See, once you get a pattern, once you get a measurement, then it is very easy to have. Na? And when we talk about the manual meters, no one will go at dot 12 hours to take the reading. Na? If I want to have a consumption of a day of or 1 hour, if I deviate by a minute or by 5 minutes, then my whole system will collapse. So smart meters, what they give you the accurate reading, accurate timing, accurate parameters, and all the parameters are at same time. Because energy meters, what happen, you get a counter and you get the readings like power factor you get, then you get the energy consumption, then you get the voltage. It is in a cycle. if anyone has seen the meters. But in smart meter, what happen? You get exact 00 hours all the parameters. So in that sense, that use help us a lot to have the analysis. I think you got the answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now I conclude our question answer session. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, Nikhil, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Moving to the final part of the section, I request Professor Chetan Rane to give the vote of thanks. Professor Chetan Rane.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. You can carry on.
Professor Chetan Rane, is it audible? Hello. 1 second, sir. We are just waiting for Professor Chetan Rane to get connected. Hello.
Yes, sir. I am here.
So please make him the co-host. He can't unmute
Okay, sir.
himself.
I think there's a technical difficulty is facing. Thank you
Make
so
him
much,
the
sir.
co-host.
No. Wait, ma'am. I'll make him co-host.
Yes.
Okay. If there's a technical difficulty, I'll just give it.
He is not able to unmute himself.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I have made him co.
Okay, am I audible?
Chetan sir, it's
Yes,
very
sir.
clear. You
Okay,
can
okay.
continue, very clear.
Okay. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, Professor Chetan Rane, on behalf of MCT's Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology, Department of Mechanical Engineering, and on behalf of Organizing Committee of AICT AQIS sponsored online 1 week short-term training program on recent trends in energy management and audit, and my own behalf extends a very hearty vote of thanks to Mr. Aniruddha Asaba for accepting our invitation as a resource person and sparing his valuable time with us. He has given good insights on the topic of energy audit methodology for industries. In this, he explained us about energy management, its objectives, types of energy audits and approach, energy audit report, benchmarking, instruments for the energy audits. Thank you so much, sir.
So it's privilege, sir, to be associated with all of the professors.
Thank you, sir.
I think.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Today's second session is on energy saving opportunities in steam management at 1 p.m. and it will be delivered by Mr. Pradeep Joshi. All the participants are requested to join this session. Thank you so much.